Welcome everybody to the Eden Audio newsletter of December 2019. Yes, we're at the end of yet another decade. In the next few weeks we will be moving into 2020. Where does the time go? When we say 2020 we think of a science fiction title film, don't we? 2020. We think we're going to watch a science fiction film of the future, but we're not. We're now in the future as we move into yet another decade. Where does time go? It seems just like yesterday that it was 1987, 1988, 30 odd years ago, just over 30 years, and I was working in a place called Cold Norton, and there was a company there called Director, and they specialised in PVC tape. They would bring it in from Taiwan. They would have salesmen up in the offices and they would get their orders in, send it down to us in the warehouse, and my job was to box up those packages of tape and send them off to customers. And that, as I say, was 1988, over 30 years ago, but it feels just like yesterday. Where does the time go? And that was the last job I ever had in the UK. The last time I was ever actually employed by somebody. I then moved to Spain, where I lived for 30 years. And in that 30 years, I saw so much changes. Even though that 30 years went like that, in the flash of an eye, so much change in Spain, in Andalusia, right down the bottom of Spain, in southern Spain, was incredible. It really, really was dramatic, the changes I witnessed there. When Spain joined the European Union, the amount of changes that took place, new roads, the infrastructure completely changed. A lot more petrol stations started to appear, because when I first went there was very, very few petrol stations, very, very few shopping centres. If we wanted to go shopping, we had to go into the city of Malaga every week just to do shopping. But in the 30 years that I lived there, supermarkets sprung up all over the place as Spain became more and more modern. But as I say, it all happened ever so quickly, and the changes were quite dramatic. So when I came back to England just 2 years ago, the surroundings here to me, even though I'm in a different part of England, I started off in Essex and now I'm in Somerset, the feeling of England is, to me, it stayed basically the same. The surroundings have stayed basically the same as how I remember it 30 odd years ago, because while I was in Spain it was very, very rare that I actually came back to the UK. I think I only came back to the UK 3 or 4 times in that 30 years. But as I say, when I came back it just looked very, very familiar to me. But things had changed, just like things had changed there in Spain in that 30 years. The people, the infrastructure, the way of life. The same has happened here as well in England, obviously. For example, I've now got a little lad, a 5-year-old lad that goes to school. Now, when I went to school, it was completely different. That is one area that, to me, has really stood out the most, the schooling. Because, as I say, when I went to school, you would eat, for example, lunchtime food. You would eat what you were given. Where my son, we get a notification every week and we have to fill in what our son's going to eat at school. Or say, for example, he falls over and scratches his knee or he bangs his head. When I was at school, you would sort of go and see the nurse and they would put cream on it and tell you you're better and send you on your way. Now it's the school will call you or give you a notification that your son's grazed his knee. So to me, now being a parent, it all seems a little bit odd. As I say, life has changed in 30 years here as well in the UK, even though things, as I say, do look fairly familiar. But it's going back to that point of how quickly that 30 years has gone. Those changes in 30 years have been remarkable. The technology, the things we've got today that we didn't have 30 years ago. And it makes you wonder, what's the future going to bring? What are the next 30 years if we're still here? If I'm still here, what are they going to bring? What more changes are going to happen in life? Because to me, some things are better. Without a shadow of doubt, things are better. But on the other hand, there are things that are an awful lot worse. So we've got better things, and for sure, to me, I see a lot of worse things. So, as we move into 2020, what do you think the next few years are going to bring for us? It's going to be very, very interesting. And I, for one, look forward to seeing what the future brings. And also the future, we all think about our future, don't we? And what's the future going to be for audio? It's hard to say, isn't it? The way audio market's going. We've seen that over the last few years how things are changing, how streaming has become more and more popular. So that's something also to look forward to in the future. But getting back to the present time, this newsletter is concentrating on about a new range of products that we just received here at Eden Audio. Now, to me, it's a brand new name. I'd never heard of them before, even though they've been around for a little while, making power supplies and DECs, apparently. It's a new name from me, and they are a Taiwanese manufacturer called Keces Audio. Now, they're very, very interesting, the products that they've got. They do power supplies, amplifiers, phono stages, preamplifiers with headphone outputs and DACs, and power amplifiers. So it's a very, very interesting range of products they've got. And what's also very good, which I like, as you probably have gathered already, I like products that are affordable, that offer excellent sound quality for a very, very affordable price. And I'm going to show you one of the products. Excuse me while I leave. Oh, look at that. It's a heavy brick. I'll tell you that now. Really is rather heavy. Don't know if you can see that there. That's the first product that I've received from Keces Audio. It's the P3. Now, it's a noise linear power supply. The Keces Audio P3 linear power supply. It features a high quality toroidal transformer that provides pure power. There are separate grounds for each output rail. Ultra low ripple noise. No humming or buzz noise for 50 Hz and peak load. Dual output provide 3A for each. There is over temperature protection. The 3mm thick aluminium chassis is very effective in blocking EMI and RFI interferences. You will find on the rear there is dual outputs. You can choose between 1.5 volts, 7 volt, 9 volt, plus 12 volt, 15 volt and 16 volt. Or the other version, which consists of 12 volts, 15 volts, 16 volts, plus on the other side 12 volts, 15 volts and 16 volts. The DC connector is a 2.5mm barrel. Hefty piece of equipment. We like to give things a knuckle test here at Eden Audio, and I say the build quality of that is superb. It's got beautiful, I don't know if you can see that, you've got lovely curved edges on it. It looks really, really stylish. And on the top there, engraved in the top, if you can see that, you can see Keces Audio. There's the rear underneath, the feet on the bottom. I say there's your front panel. I say that's just one of the products that we've received here at Eden Audio from Keces Audio. So I invite you to come over and have a listen to these products, because I'm going to go into detail, a little bit more detail next month, about the E40 amplifier. I've been running it in the last 2 to 3 weeks, and I must say I really am impressed at how good it sounds. Really impressed, and that's an understatement, believe you me. So we've got the E40 we're going to look at next month, and I've also got here on demonstration the phono stage. As I say, I'm pretty impressed with how good that sounds as well. Thank you very much everybody for tuning in to the December 2019 Eden Audio newsletter. Just to recap what we've got coming for you very shortly here at Eden Audio. As you're probably already aware, we've got the very impressive M2 Tech system playing away, but we're going to be adding the Van de Graaff power supply to see what differences their linear power supply can make to this already very impressive M2 Tech system. I've just showed you the Keces Audio P3 linear power supply, and next month I've got a real treat for you when I'm going to be showing you the E40 integrated amplifier. And believe you me when I say this is an absolute killer of an amplifier. It is astonishing the performance on offer from the Keces Audio E40. Come back, you will be impressed by how good that sounds. Not only that, we've got coming from Ophidian Audio the P2 Evolution. Now the P2 Evolution is the middle of the range of the Ophidian Audio Evolution range. I've very impressive sounding loudspeaker. So we've got the P2 coming along with it, so we can compare the two, see how the floor stander compares to the stand mounter. I think you're going to be very impressed by that loudspeaker as well. Ophidian Audio are a brand that certainly puts the cat amongst the pigeons, to say, with their loudspeakers. I mean that in the sense that they really are quite capable of competing with the big boys in the loudspeaker world. So do come along and have a listen to the Ophidian Audio range of loudspeakers.